It is critical, that collaboration, not only for the entrepreneurs to see large-scale businesses of these sizes all collaborating together on one goal, showed what was possible for their own businesses. So again, it was that making sure that the dream can become a reality. When you see businesses like UPS and Truist and Aprio, who are experts in their field, coming together to share knowledge, share insights, and really work together for the betterment of our small business community. It's an example and a case study that we use in almost all partnerships we look at from United Way.
Welcome to Aprio Ascend, where we explore the ideas, relationships, and strategies that help people and business grow with intention. Today's episode is about social impact done differently, not just giving resources, but building capability. We're talking about building resilient entrepreneurs, or BRE, supporting early-stage, underrepresented entrepreneurs. I'd love to get us started, Matthew, with talking about really the need for the program. What caused the need for BRE to get started?
Yeah, no, great question. I think what we were seeing was incredible consistency throughout the community. Entrepreneurs had talent and they had demand, but they really lacked accessibility to things like financial literacy and the fundamental pieces to business acumen. And what we were able to do, and I guess an example that really comes to mind, is our participant, Tanika Williams from Royal Petals. One of the things that she could see the vision for her business, but without a foundational financial fundamental in her business and being able to put those practices to use, that lack of confidence and the lack that was a realistic opportunity for her business, it just wasn't there. And that was just one story out of many. We surveyed over 250 businesses who shared a very common story, that the talent, the demand, all of that was there, but that access to opportunity, the access to capital, and the access to the knowledge to do with the capital what was needed for growth was not there.
Well, Matthew, that's an amazing story that you guys recognize that need. So what does participation in BRE actually look like?
So it's a 6-month commitment, and one of the reasons why we do the 6-month commitment is that to really help build those habits we were just talking about, building those best practices in the business, but was also a consistency to come back and learn things in bite-sized forms. And so again, what we were seeing from participants, even like Tanika, but also Ariel Jordan from Spectrum Glassware, was that need for community building, the need for to be able to come back and ask those questions as she was putting these best practices into her business. And so that was one of the things we wanted to deliver over a 6-month time frame so that there was that consistency of delivery.
Michele, why was it important for Aprio to be involved at this stage of the entrepreneur's journey?
Being a part of the journey at this particular time was so important because this is when that type of information can really shift the trajectory of someone's business. Entrepreneurs like Ariel, they weren't missing ambition. They were missing clear and concise and relevant information. And the data out there can be bleak for startups and new businesses. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, nearly half of new businesses fail within 5 years. So BRE allowed Aprio to really meet entrepreneurs where they are and help them build the confidence that they need around issues like P&L and separating personal finances from professional finances, skills that are needed and necessary and immediately improve both credibility and opportunity readiness.
So Michele, it sounds like this is much more about charity or sponsorship and more about what I would call intentionality. So talk to me about how Aprio was intentional of showing up, right? And how we became a part of the journey and how we were able to give back beyond just dollars and cents.
Aprio was all in. It was 100% more than just a dollar contribution. And we didn't just deliver content, we built relationships. Our teams designed and facilitated the financial fundamentals, say that 5 times fast, curriculum with accessibility in mind. We focused on relevant and real-life scenarios. So if we had an entrepreneur that was focusing on her landscaping business, we talked about that. If we had someone that was starting a food truck, we talked about that. For entrepreneurs like Tanika, the environment really mattered. When people feel safe asking questions, they engage more deeply. We repeatedly saw confidence rise alongside alongside competence. And when you have both of those two things together, it's really powerful.
I can't tell you how the story impacts me. Think about the fundamentals of giving back to an entrepreneur, aligning with the Aprio fundamentals of being involved in the community. I think is super important. So, Matt, I heard Michele talk about environments, right? So how does environment impact participants? I mean, this is the lens I think that's really important to the listeners. Like, what did the environment look like for the participants as they went through? What were the benefits of it and the impact?
Yeah, I mean, the environment was crucial. The intentionality that Michele mentions is what really was the foundation for the program. And so, it was critical that we had these collaborative partners that could come in and create that safe space to build confidence, but most of all, to deliver curriculum that isn't always accessible in a respectful way. I mean, we've had several, frankly, of our participants come back and tell us just that this content is readily available out there in other places, but the delivery from the professionals at Aprio, professionals at Truist and UPS, how they delivered that in a respectful manner that wasn't attacking the business, but was giving those real life examples of how this shows up in your business. And when it does show up, here are the things that you can do to make sure that you are positioning yourself for great success there. So I can't speak more highly of the collaboration and the intentionality behind that.
Well, Michele, I think this is a strong example of what I call shared value, but now we've brought it in multiple companies, right? Now we've got UPS, we've got Truist, we've got the entrepreneur, we've got Aprio working together. Talk to me why this approach really worked.
Shared values was critical in the decision-making process because it is authentic. We all were mission, vision aligned, were purpose-driven, and had our businesses in mind. And the beautiful thing about BRE is that it strengthened communities while also energizing all of our team members. For Aprio specific, it deepened trust in the Aprio brand. It strengthened our corporate social responsibility reputation, all strong business goals and objectives. And our team members, our volunteers, stayed engaged well beyond their scope and regular roles and responsibilities because they could see the tangible outcomes. They could see entrepreneurs gaining new business opportunities, new exposure. And also, I will say, and this is something that I think is true for all volunteer opportunities, when you are passionate about it, it makes all the difference. So we had our team members that were delivering on tax and financial services and understanding financial statements. And they were so passionate to stand in front of these new entrepreneurs and businesses and share insights and, again, real world scenarios so that they can have their businesses thrive.
Well, as a fellow entrepreneur, I know how important it is to have great advice through the process, Michele. So I can imagine having the partnerships of not only an Aprio, maybe CPA professional, financial services professional, but a banker from Truist, and then someone in UPS who really sees the small business market at scale. It can be invaluable to the entrepreneur. So we're talking here, Matthew, about collaboration. You mentioned it earlier. So how important is it collaboration from the United Way's perspective when it talks about engaging the community to have corporate partners like this working with entrepreneurs?
Yeah, I think Michele hit the nail on the head. It is critical. That collaboration, not only for the entrepreneurs to see large-scale businesses of these sizes all collaborating together on one goal, showed what was possible for their own businesses. So again, it was that making sure that the dream can become a reality. When you see businesses like UPS and Truist and Aprio, who are experts in their field, coming together to share knowledge, share insights, and really work together for the betterment of our small business community. I mean, it's an example and a case study that we use in almost all partnerships we look at from United Way. But I think from a nonprofit perspective and from a capacities perspective, we knew what needed to be provided to the entrepreneurs, but we didn't have those expertise. As Michele mentioned, we didn't have tax accountants. We don't have bankers within our organization. So to be able to have partners who are passionate about the areas we're serving, who are experts in those fields, not only be invested from a financial perspective, but also from a knowledge sharing, insights, and expertise perspective, there really isn't a value you can put on it.
So Matthew, I'm going to put you back on the spot here.
Please.
So you started to talk about scalability there and what allows you to do this. So, obviously you've got a foundation built to start the program with BRE. What makes this program scalable? And I'm going to put you on the spot with an unplanned question, which is, do you see this program leaving Atlanta and taking on to other geographies?
Yeah. So, to get to your first question, what makes it scalable? The blueprint is scalable in any community you go to. The principles that we are teaching, the habits we are building in entrepreneurs, one, this was built by entrepreneurs. Every data point we use comes from the U.S. Small Business Chamber. These were national data points that we were bringing back down to the local level. So from a scalability standpoint, everything that we offer throughout the program is no different than what any entrepreneur has to be focusing on, whether they live in Atlanta, Columbus, Georgia, Charlotte, Philadelphia, Los Angeles, Chicago, you name it. Those were really critical because we did have plans to scale this, and we do have plans to scale this. We are looking at other United Way markets who are looking at a similar economic mobility strategic focus, places like Charlotte, places like New York, and even here in Atlanta, looking at how we can scale it further beyond just the city of Atlanta and work throughout the region to really create a stronger ecosystem for business owners. So again, the core principles were the delivery from the program that we were providing were what we heard from the experts, what was really needed to build a strong business and grow it, not just in Atlanta, but across the nation. And we're excited for the next steps in scaling the program.
Well, that's awesome to hear. It sounds like you've got a great foundation in place to build upwards from. And when you're building a house or anything you want to build, the foundation is the most important part. So Michele, I'd love to give you an opportunity to have your final takeaway. You've been working on this program in hand with our friends here at United Way, have been a major role in it. What do you see for the future of Aprio here, and how do you see us partnering with United Way as we expand together and move forward?
Yeah, I love that question. And when we first started whiteboarding just the idea of what this type of program could look like, we did so with the true intention of it being scalable and something that we can bring to other markets. For Aprio is really important because we are a nationwide firm. We're international, right? So if we do something like this in Atlanta, can we duplicate and replicate in Charlotte, in New York, in San Francisco? So that was always our intention. And we are on that path. This year in 2026, we are expanding into a new market, and we're really excited that we are going to create an industry-specific version of BRE. BRE is general for all entrepreneurs and small businesses, but we're going to do a restaurant edition because that is one of those marketplaces that we see now as new businesses that are really in need of this particular curriculum and program. So we're really, really excited about that. And that is going to, we're working on that right now as well.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Michele, for your time. And thank you, audience, for joining in. BRE shows that when organizations align skills, values, and trust, entrepreneurs and communities thrive. Thanks for listening to Aprio Ascend.